Hi, my name is Jesse Hermanson. I am a wildlife photographer out of Western Montana, and I just wanted to share this quick tip with you. It's not too quick, but quick enough on how to check your sensor for dust or smudges. Hint, hint. So I bought this lens. Little history: I bought this lens and was very unhappy with it. The acuity, little sharpness, fine feather detail was not up to standard of what I was expecting, as this was my dream lens. So I stumbled across a way to check your sensor just a little bit better in Lightroom. So let's just dive right in. This is 2800 ISO, 500 millimeter f4, 1/1000th of a second. That should be pretty sharp for the Z8. And so, clearly you can see some noise and everything like that, and you can see some feather detail, but I'm just not seeing like that fine feather detail. And I hadn't been. I went to Yellowstone and then just shooting all summer. I just was really frustrated. I probably sat on this lens for 6 months, getting really frustrated with it. I almost returned it, didn't. I thought I could send it in. I sent it into Nikon, got it cleaned. I just kept looking at the lens for some reason until my friend Caleb Plumley, he has a channel as well. I'll link to it here. But he is a good friend of mine locally. He reached out and said, hey, I know you're having problems with this. Have you thought about it being your sensor? And I was like, I didn't even think about this whole time. So this is one of the files I sent him. I just said, this is not acceptable to me for a 500 millimeter f4. This is acceptable to me for maybe the 180 to 600 or the 200 to 500. Let's say that. That's kind of the results I was getting with the 200 to 500 when I owned that for a short period of time. We'll go to this test chart here. I set this test chart up in my garage, and I was shooting through my house at the test chart, and it doesn't look too bad, but I just felt like I was getting some weird, like I guess the best way to describe it is like ghosting. And you can kind of see that if I go a little bit further. It almost looks like pretty severe chromatic aberration. And it's just a little bit off. It's not what I'm expecting. You can see it really well kind of in here. If you guys can't tell, then I'm just kind of picky. And it comes out in pictures, from a distance or on Instagram, it's not a big deal, but when you blow them up, you can tell just a little bit that something's not quite right. So I have a light box kind of in my way from the bottom of the screen, so I go into the next photo. This shows it a little bit more. There's just some weird haze. That's my frustration, right? And so I did some test charts. I always shoot this monkey to it's my kid's stuffed animal. I always shoot this monkey to test sharpness of any lens, and it looks pretty good at 100. You can see detail here, and you can see some detail here, but you can't see like that fine detail in here. And the focus point is on here. I've checked that. It just looks like it's just not great. And to me, that works for a 200 to 500. I'd be happy with that. For a, at the time, $8,000 whatever dollar 500 f4 FL, I'm not happy with that. Otherwise, I would have had a cheaper lens. So anyway, then I thought, while I'm doing this, hey, this might be, focus might be off. And it did look like it. I took this one picture. It's at 37. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's front focusing. That's the problem. I didn't load those photos in there. It wasn't the problem. It just had missed for some reason. I guess I didn't have enough light right here for it to get good autofocus. I usually do manual focus and everything like that. But I decided to check the sensor after my friend Caleb reached out to me. And you get a file like this, and basically what everyone says to do is to go to your remove tool and your clone, and then you can go visualize spots. And I'm like, wow, that is not that bad. So it's not the sensor. And I decided, I had heard in a video somebody say to check it in a different way, like don't do visualize spots. And so I went to, see if I can remember this. I'll have to play with it a little. Whites, it was like play with the whites, so bring the blacks down and then the whites all the way down. Okay, you're starting to see it. There, let's bring exposure. Okay, you're starting to see what I lucked into, I guess. I'm going to change the temperature because I think it helps a little. 30, no, what did I do to get this texture? Yeah, add a little texture. Let's go back to, okay, you can see up in here. Let's do a little bit less. Okay, right in here, see these swipe, I guess you'd call it, marks. Nothing down here, so it looks like the top half of my sensor has a giant smudge across it. And why I think this is important, so basically what I did here is turn up the contrast, keep the exposure kind of there, lower the whites, lower the blacks, turn up the texture, and maybe play with the temperature just a little bit. And check your sensor that way first. A lot of these spots didn't even show up. Like, see these little weird, like, bubbles? And so what happened here is I used the APS-C swab, and it came to about here, and I swiped it and went back, and that looks pretty good down here. This is some dust after like 6 months of shooting outdoors and all that. But up here, I didn't use a new swab, and I swiped it, and it left these marks, and this was killing my image quality just that much, where I was very unhappy with this lens. And I'm on a tight budget with photography, so it was really deflating to see this. So what I did is I cleaned the sensor, which I will link to a video in the future on how to clean your sensor. That's probably going to be my next video properly. So I ordered the full frame kit. I had the APS-C kit from the R7, so I've ordered the full frame kit. It took me 4 times to clean this lens, or this sensor, sorry, to get it clean. That's how bad this this stuff was right here. It was absolutely terrible. And so I cleaned the sensor, and then we can come back to, was it blacks down, whites down, texture, temperature. It looks pretty good, right? I think these little spots right here, this was probably on my 3rd pass. Yeah, this is on my 3rd pass. The 4th pass, it was perfectly clean. But the main point of this is a lot of people say to go here to your remove tool, and then go to your clone and do visualize spots. Okay, so the reason why I say that is, let's go to reset, is a lot of people recommend, go to your remove tool, clone, and visualize spots. There's no spots on here. This is the new one, actually, sorry. And the old one, I mean, that looks just absolutely terrible. You can see it now that I did the visualize spots, and I played around those other settings. I suggest you lower the whites and blacks and then visualize spots, because then you can really see those spots. If I take that off and visualize spots, I'm just not seeing a lot of spots. So your sensor could be more dirty than you think it is. That's the main point of this video. So watch this video in the future. Watch my next video on how to clean your sensor, and don't give up on a lens just because you're really frustrated with it. If you're kind of having the same thing happen that I was having, where that weird little haloing action, then check your sensor. Don't just give up on the lens and return it. So I'm going to go back in to 100%. Right here, that's kind of where we're looking. This looks a lot better to me at 100%. Now at 200%, clearly, you know, it looks like I can see the pixels here, and I don't really have as much haloing. I have better contrast in the picture. It's really hard to tell, but I can see the difference. Maybe if I mean, just look at that. I flipped back to it. So, okay. You can see the difference. And it's this, looks like chromatic aberration just killing my photo. And that is that weird halo effect that I was seeing. Alright, so that's my recommendation. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something. I did. And I think it's, you know, everyone else recommends, you know, using the visualize spots. I think that's really good to visualize actual dust spots. But there could be other things wrong with your sensor causing sharpness issues. And don't sell a nice lens before testing that out, because I almost did. So if you liked this, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe. There'll be more content coming. Probably a good mixture of technical and some stuff out in the field. But hope you liked it. See ya.